viewers.
Whenever ready? Okay. Okay, so we're still here with, I don't like the okay. We are editing this, right? Okay. This is Jen Pula. This isn't an official episode of Neighbors to Know, but we just finished talking to O.C. O'Connor, and he brought so many notes with him that we couldn't possibly cover them in the 38 minutes that we were talking to each other. And he brought like pictures of, 3 pages of notes. So there are other things about O.C. that he wanted to share with all of you about things you might not know about him. Oh, I'm sorry. My son is calling me.
Oh, I thought that was the water here, the water boiling.
That's live television, everyone. Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that we gave O.C. time to talk about all the things that we apparently don't know about him. So I'm going to turn it over to you and shut my ringer off because that's really professional. And I don't even know where you're going with this. So what are these things about O.C. that I don't know?
Well,
or anyone.
Since we last talked, since we last spoke.
It was like a day ago.
Days, moments. In the time continuum, who knows?
It seems like 12 minutes.
Well, it could be. I tell you, if it wasn't for my wonderful wife, listen, let me back up. I have to thank my mother, God rest her soul, for introducing me to my wonderful wife, Lynne. I don't know what my mother had against her, but anyway, Lynne, you're the best. I love you. You're a saint. You got front row seats. Now, you had asked a question about, what they don't know. And this kind of falls into a place. So there was a gal named Jess Porter. And Jess was the assistant town manager.
I remember.
Under Rick Reed. She was also the liaison for the town and capital expenditures. I was on CapEx for 11 years, and she and I, when she came on board, it was, baby steps were getting it going. Then after she knew so much more than me, I said, okay, time for me to get off this thing. They don't need me anymore. And she was going on to her next assignment, right, over in Belmont. So there was some cake and upstairs from here, and it was very nice. And went back to the town hall afterwards, or maybe even a day later, and said, hey, congratulations, this is so great. I said, what do you have there? And she said, oh, this is something they gave me. It was a gag joke. I said, that's not a gag joke. She says, yes, it was. It's hanging in the ladies' room behind the door. I go, that is not a gag joke. I go, that's a Hiroshige. She goes, what? She goes, O.C., you know what this is? I said, yes, it was one of those beautiful wood block prints from the late 1800s, right? Japanese, a guy named Hiroshige, or Hiroshige, as most people pronounce it. And it was one of the 42 block prints that he did on the way to Kyoto. But it was actually 53 prints and called Tokaido Road between Kyoto and Tokyo. And he did the different stations and picked, it's like someone say, scenic route, they stop over and you take a picture. Well, this was one of the more famous ones. She goes, how the heck did you know that? I said, oh, you didn't know? I said, I've got a degree in Japanese studies. I was stationed in Japan.
This is totally no offense to you, but when I found that out, I said, Lynne told me that you went to D.C. and, tied that in with when you were at the Air Force. So I said, well, what exactly did he do when he was in the Air Force? And she said, you were a linguist. And then she starts throwing out all these languages. And I was just, while we were off camera a minute ago, I was saying during a troop meeting, you went over to one of the daughters or sisters of one of the scout members and just started speaking in Chinese.
Yes.
And I just figured it was a hi, how are you? I know some Spanish, like donde está el baño, not well. So I figured that's what you were saying. Right. But then you just kept going, and I'm like, there's this guy. I was like, stop the presses. He was just singing, which I do have on video, by the way, of you singing at the pancake breakfast. I can't recall what song it was, but in the best Irish accent ever. And then here you are speaking. Boy. Yes, it was Oh Danny Boy.
I'm sure.
And then you're speaking in fluent Chinese.
Not
but
fluent.
That's not.
Let's make a. I'm
it
working
sounded
on.
Fluent to me.
I'm working on not rare, but not all that well-known dialect in the northeast part of the United States, Bostonese. But those other ones, at different degrees, at different times of my life, I can still order, sushi. I'm doing
So
pretty
how
good
many,
on that.
I mean, I don't even know this, but how many languages do you speak? Fluently or not?
I have a good understanding of Italian. Of course, I understand it a lot better. Remember, my grandparents came off of the boat, right? And I would stay with them when my parents were. Well, they didn't speak that much English, so till the age of 4 or so for me, I spoke Italian. Now, I don't know how much more my vocabulary has gone since a 4-year-old, but I can most of the language is enough to get in trouble with still, So my Italian is there. Uncle Sam sent me to school to learn Chinese in Defense Language Institute out in Monterey. I was a Chinese linguist, and then in '74, with the Vietnam War in rapid decline and had pulled out, didn't need any more Chinese linguists. Everything was under Carter, just shrunk. So there was that. Years later, or a year or so later, I end up in Germany, and somehow I get in the NATO computer. So my name's in NATO, and I get an assignment to Turkey. A friend of mine from base personnel says, "Hey, you're going to Turkey?" I said, "Oh, great, I'm out of here. Good, let's go. Where's Turkey?"
It's that way.
It's something you put on your Thanksgiving dinner table. So I said, okay. He says, "You're going to Izmir." Wonderful. What is Izmir? Well, Izmir is on the same parallel, if you will, as Athens, on the western coast of Turkey.
Okay.
And that is, right off the Mediterranean, and third largest city, largest seaport. And Ankara is the capital. Istanbul, of course, is the, what a beautiful, we took the family there and went, and Miss Lynne doesn't like this story, but I think she can tell it now with a smile. So Austin wanted to get some genuine fake sunglasses. So we're in the Turkish bazaar and going through, and the guy says,
Is that a
okay.
thing, like Turkish sunglasses?
Well, they had fake everything.
Okay.
It's like going in
Rolexes.
the Gucci bags and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So talking with some guys, they're out having chai and talking to them in Turkish, and they say, "Okay, I'll send you with this, my friend. He'll take me." So this guy's going along. Now Lynne doesn't know that he and I are talking in English, and he's showing me pictures of his brother in Springfield, Massachusetts, on Facebook. It's great. This is not a big thing.
Yeah.
And Lynne and my daughter Tori are sitting and walking around going, "This is getting worse and worse. We're going deeper and deeper into the, did we take a left and 3 rights? What did we do? Who dropped the breadcrumbs?" So we get there way in the back, and they didn't have exactly what we want. So we come back and, "Wasn't that you took us to this place?" I said, "What's the matter? There was no problem at all." Not necessarily for someone who had not been in that environment before, and I understand that. So there's the Turkish, and then I get stationed in Turkey, became a bodyguard and interpreter for a general's wife.
Oh, interesting.
Tough duty, I got to tell you, tough duty. I had to golf, a couple times a week.
Golf as a bodyguard?
Yes. If Mrs. Loving wanted to go golfing, we'd go golfing, and we'd go out, we'd go shopping, and
Was there any fisticuffs involved with your bodyguarding?
No, thank goodness. There were a lot of car bombs early on.
Oh.
And there were but we weren't allowed to carry anything other than shotguns. You couldn't have any weapons that were rifled or had rifling in it to make the projectile spin and stay on course. So that was fun. And I was going into they went on to their next assignment, and I was getting out in, at the time, December. I was already accepted into Air Force ROTC. I was going to school in San Francisco State for international relations. I was psyched, really psyched. And then the base education officer comes by and says, "John," nobody knows my name, John, but he called me John. He says, "I get some bad news for you." I go, "What is it?" He says, "They lost your paperwork for ROTC." I go, "Oh, are you kidding me?" I said, "All right, that's it. I'm done. Get me out of here." Because that's a long process.
Yeah.
Well, a week or so later, I get a call from my general, who was now in Japan. He says, "John, how would you like to spend a couple years in Japan?" "Sir, yes, sir." 4 days later, I'm in Japan.
Wow.
Pick up a degree in Japanese while I'm there.
Oh, so your degree was from?
I'm a Turpin, University of Maryland, was the accrediting university or college for a lot of the armed services at the time.
Interesting.
So that's my degree from there.
Who knew?
There's another.
I never saw
There's
that
another
coming.
whole story on a visit to China and stuff. We'll do that another time. So there are the languages.
Is that something you wanted to do, or just like it comes naturally to you? I mean, my parents are off the boat German, so like I pick up languages.
That's right.
Well,
I think that when you're a child, you're a sponge.
Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't give that second language or third language or whatever to their kids when they're sponges, that's not good for them. You're missing a big opportunity. I know that having Italian early on and switching, because I can still think in Turkish, as opposed to the other ones I have to translate. All right, Italian doesn't even think anymore, but Turkish I can think in it and dreams and all that kind of stuff. In fact, we had a gentleman was doing a presentation. I forget the 12 Warriors or Last Warrior, when the just after the bombings, or the tower bombings, they sent in a handful, I think there was like a dozen special ops individuals that ended up going and working with the tribal leaders over in Afghanistan. And Kurdistan is a language that is very similar to Turkish. And this guy was telling us all that stuff. So afterwards we went down to get a book and buy a book and have him sign it. And I'm starting to talk Turkish with him, and we're going on and on. It was wonderful. All the people in line are going, "What is that?"
what's happening right
Oh,
now?
it was great. It was great, and because it was that similar enough. And that guy was brilliant. He's way more, conversive and fluent than I was. But I also thought, as I get older, I'm saying, wait a second, am I that much gifted? No. Was I motivated? Yes. I wanted to meet ladies. So if I wasn't able to speak their language in Turkey and Japan,
So the only reason
let's just say it simply. This is what it was. Motivation.
You're just an open person. Like, if I learn every language, then every country I travel to, there's possibilities there. Is that what Lynne doesn't know?
Oh, she knows. She's a saint. That girl's a saint. Oh, that girl's a saint.
But she talks about you very lovingly, and you can see like an admiration when you talk to her. When I talk to her about you, you see this admiration like about her talking about you.
She calls me her Renaissance man.
Oh, that's what I never got to. Yes, that's one of my Post-its on there, which I forgot to put
is
it
it up
up.
there?
Yes, because she mentioned the Renaissance man. Maybe I didn't put it up there. But she said, and it's funny because the first time I ever went to your house, I'm like, I think now I understand why. So what makes you a Renaissance man?
And she says, it wouldn't kill you to go out and hire somebody to do this, that, and the
can't.
other thing.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No.
I got enough Italian in me. I build walls and bricks and sorts
You're
of stuff
working in a
like that.
shower, no?
Well, you have to bring this up.
Well, you showed me pictures.
You have to bring this up.
It's beautiful.
All right, so if your spouse was there and working on something with passion, right? And it's something that he, enjoyed, and there's something, at the end of the day, these things did it. So there's something there. And nowadays you can watch enough YouTubes and you can do anything, right? So if you waited an extra year or two for the master bath to get done, would that be okay?
No.
No.
Well, that's what usually ends up happening, especially with construction. Things get pushed back.
So
you're just putting each tile up.
what? So if 2 years aren't acceptable, then 3, 4, 5,
When does it stop, Posey?
6. Lynne says 10 years, but I don't know. I thought we were going to someplace where we need, England, and we needed our passports. I go, everybody get their passports? Are they all set? Are they dead? Of course, mine could not have expired. That was 10, they're worth 10 years, right? Could not have gone by.
It was done.
Gone.
Oh.
So I went the next day and caught up with them.
Poetry,
However-
too. She said that you write poetry.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yep.
what?
Well, Lynne
You
and
write
I-
poetry. You've practiced from all those people, all the girls that you were trying to pick up with all your foreign languages, and you write them poetry.
Miss Lynne was the recipient of most of my poetry.
Aw.
as I said, my mother introduced us, right? And my mother knew her since Lynne was in 4th grade, I think. Yeah, through high school. So 4th, 5th through 8 years. And my mother was a drum majorette instructor.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I remember this.
And I'm in the service, and my mother kept saying, have I got a girl for you? Ma, stop it already. Have I got a girl for you? No! She'd be writing me all the time. I said, okay. Finally, I get back. Now, unbeknownst to me, she had already spoken to Miss Lynne and couched it as, my kids, plural, are at BC. Would you mind if I have them call you, or you call them and meet each other? I said, no, that's fine. No cell phones, nothing like that, okay? My first answering machine was around that time, $438.
For an answering machine?
For an answering machine.
Wow.
Tape, not even digital.
Although now it's probably an antique, so you probably could still get all your money back.
Who knows what junk pile that's in. So, or box. I think we still have 15 boxes that are still unopened from our move from Somerville. Yes, honey, we'll take care of it. So my mother's pulling this off this way. And then she says to me, oh, why don't you give her a call? Ma, come on, will ya? She goes, she'll never go out with you.
Oh, ouch.
Is that right? Huh. Is that right? Well, I'm going to prove her wrong, aren't I? It took 2 months to get the first date. I'm calling, no response. Oh, I'm busy, I can't do that. And there wasn't any, I wasn't being overly aggressive, okay? And her roommate was tired of receiving my phone calls at this point. So finally I said, okay, she was a ballerina. She likes to dance. I got 12 tickets to the Nutcracker.
Oh, okay.
My mother.
It's funny because you said about digging deep, and we talked about these things, and it's all come back. Okay, go ahead.
This is actually working not bad today. So my sister, her boyfriend, my cousin, her boyfriend, there were 12 of us. It was a blind date.
With
blind
12,
date.
With 12 people.
And yes.
That should be a book, like 12 Angry Men. 12.
Well, that night at the Nutcracker, at the Wang, I fell asleep.
Oh, no.
I had all the coats. I was working and just I was going to school and working at Houlihan, so I was zonked. It was another time I came to pick her up, and it was right around St. Patrick's Day. And Houlihan's was big into St. Patrick's Day. And we went to the Hasty Puddings at Harvard, and I'm still in green face. And all these people look at me and go, never mind. So that night, after the Nutcracker, we all went over to the 57. Lynne fell for me. I mean, she slipped on some ice, and I caught her. But
wait, the slipping is serious?
Slipping,
okay.
yeah. And caught her.
Yeah.
She was very, very quick on her feet, balanced, wonderful. When we got to the 57, it was packed. It was as if there were only 2 of us in the entire place.
That's the way it should be.
That was it. I knew that was it. Our next date or 2 ended up at the Museum of Science. The, what is it called where you put the stars in there? Not the atrium.
The planetarium?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Where the seats go back and it gets dark. Perfect. First kiss right there.
Oh.
And when it came time to propose to Miss
This is the
Lynne,
best part.
This is when Doug Flutie was really doing well. BC was playing extraordinarily well. Doug won the Heisman. They're going to the Cotton Bowl. All sorts, big football, and everything was going great. And at one of the games before the Cotton Bowl, playing at Gillette Stadium down there, I hired a little plane.
At Gillette?
What was it before? What are they playing now?
It's Gillette now.
It's Gillette? Okay, whatever it was called before that. All right. And, before Kraft. And it's rainy, windy, Syracuse, BC, going back and forth. And right after the half, this little airplane's going around in the wind with this big one, goes around 3 times. Now, all the people around us know what's going on. My uncle's over there taking pictures.
And Lynne's looking down.
Lynne's going, why is your uncle taking all these pictures? I said, I don't know, watch the game. So finally, the big sign comes into view. She hadn't seen it yet. Lynne, will you marry me? Love, Boots. I had to put Boots. That was when I was born. that was the last time I was early and underweight. I was a preemie, 7-month preemie. So my feet were much more protruded when they put the baby booties on.
Okay.
And they call me Boots. It took 3 months to get a real name before my mother and father could decide on a name. All right, so at the game, I had that. I had the ring was in the hot dog that I gave her. And
she didn't eat it, did she?
No. She got close. I said, be careful on this next bite, honey. And I went to see her father that morning. First generation Greek and very, proper and all that. He says, you're putting a lot of pressure on the kid. You know that, don't you? And she said yes. And she was at business school at the time, and then on the holiday party they had, someone put a prize, a mock prize out there with this little biplane and a long tail message on the back that said, just say no. Nope, mine.
That is the sweetest story. That's how I wanted to end things, and thank you for to our productions, people, which I guess now is just Ryan back there. But thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan,
for letting us keep going, because I did want to end off with that biplane story, and I'm glad that we had a chance to talk about it. You're such a romantic. It's just like the picture-perfect scene of a movie.
Well, someday we'll get the bathroom finished, too.
Yeah, and then we'll put pictures up, and it'll be pretty. You'll have everyone over to your house.
I always said it was going to be done by Christmas. I just never said which one, but this year I said this one.
No
Missed that one. No.
There's always more for you. There's always more tidbits to find out.
Yes,
so maybe we'll have you come on it again and just keep talking some more.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Bedford TV. Thank you to Ryan. We have some
Ooh, look at that side
cool
view.
hats.
Look at that side view.
That's
Which way do I go? This one? Whoop, there we go.
There you go. There you go. You wear many hats.
Yes, indeed.
All right. We will see you next time, everyone. Have a great week.